Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight for Huttons Consumer Connect. My name is Sze Teck. I'm a Senior Director for Data Analytics at Huttons. So tonight, I'm going to talk about whether the property market has reached its peak because the property prices, private property prices has come down by 0.2% in the second quarter of the year. So is that the start of a so-called decline in property prices, or if not, and why, and are there certain trends that you can actually take advantage of if you are looking to actually buy a property in the coming months? So first off, of course, I will share a bit about company updates. We have a new corporate website, so you can actually go there to take a look. Everything has been rearranged, new corporate colors and scheme, so that everything looks thicker and nicer as well, on both mobile as well as the web version also. So over there, you can actually download our latest report as well as subscribe to our latest news also. And our four ESG pillars for the community, AI and digital side, then of course, environmental side, and then lastly is the future itself. And we have a lot of giveaways coming out, which I will share for those who are listening today. If you are not a Huttons associate and not any agent out there, you can actually have a chance to win this OSIM massage chair. It's a transformer edition. So what you need to do is to just go to our IG, make a post there, and get all your friends to like your post. The one that has the highest numbers of likes will actually win this OSIM massage chair. Next, we have a nebulizer giveaway. This is from Sense by 6. So again, it's the same concept. Just this time out, instead of IG, you just go to our Facebook page and you tag a friend, and then you share why you should win. The most number of likes will actually win this nebulizer from Sense by 6. And we are also on Threads. So different social media platform already from English and to the Mandarin channel. We are there. So there are actually 10 of such channels, which you have seen from just now when the page was before we start the whole thing, our 10 social media channels over there. So actually what you need to do if you go to any social media channel is to just find our social media handle, which is Huttons Group, and then you can just follow us to receive the latest updates on the property market. And next Thursday, I will be sharing in Mandarin on the market itself. And coming up on next Friday, and actually this is a whole full suite of training series that we have. Let's say if you are somebody who wants to enter the real estate industry, you haven't taken the exam yet, you can actually join this fast track program at Huttons, where we get all the different so-called business head, as well as those who are the leaders in their respective fields, to come and share their personal knowledge, as well as some of the so-called practical knowledge to actually help you to ace your exams when you actually take the RAS exam conducted by CEA. So that, of course, then you can actually get full refund of your RAS exam fees if you actually qualify on some of the terms and conditions. If you want to know more, just contact just any of our Huttons associate. And we also have done quite a number of community support, all part of our ESG efforts, for whether it's for golf to the 1 million trees movement, as well as charity car wash, and others will be some dinner and dance as well. And we have another giveaway. This is the bedding giveaway. So if you are looking for mattress, and sorry, this is not a giveaway, this is actually a promotion. Mattress or even the pillow and stuff. So they actually have a promo. You can save up to $450 on the purchase. And if you want to buy any cake for birthday reasons, you can actually use this Bob the Baker. Then they actually have special package with delivery starting from $29.90 until $59.90. And again, just now you look at the mattress if you buy, and then if you want to look for bed sheets and pillowcases and all this, Epitex has another promo. All you need to do is to order through their online store and key in this promo code, and you get 10% off. There's no minimum purchase for this. Ergo Deal and Everdesk also have a promo where you can actually get up to $180 off on the Everdesk. So working from home, you need a proper setup. You can actually use this promo code to actually get the desk itself. Okay, now I shall start the whole session proper. Let's talk about the HDB market first before we touch on the private property market. So hopefully today within this 1 hour or less, I can give you a very quick snapshot of what's happening in the property market so I can make better decisions when you decide to enter or you want to exit the market. First off, HDB market. HDB prices actually move up faster in the second quarter of the year. First quarter, it moved up about 1.1%. It moved up about 1%. Second quarter, up about 1.4%. They're about 1.4%. So all in the first half of the year is up about 2.5%. So these prices have so-called picked up slightly faster in the second quarter. Why is that so? Because during the first quarter of the year, HDB actually make some tweaks to their housing grants. So they actually double the housing grants given to resale flat buyers. So now the resale flat buyers actually have a bigger budget to actually go and buy a resale flat. So in a way, when that happens, they have actually more budget to actually buy and they can afford to pay slightly more. And of course, at the same time, the sellers also have increased their asking price because of this increase in housing grant as well. So, but then, of course, buyers are still not very willing to actually give a lot more to actually purchase a flat. And that in a way, although there's a doubling in terms of the grant, but the increase in prices is not so much as we can see. It's slightly a bit more than the first quarter, but all in, HDB prices for the first half of the year is up about 2.5%. And this is how it actually go around the different HDB estates in Singapore. These are the top 5 estates, popular estates by the transaction volume in the second quarter versus the first quarter. You can see that the prices itself, this is across all flat types from 2-room all the way under executive. That you can actually see that there's actually some price increase over there also. And the other thing is that what we are looking at is only the second quarter and the first quarter. If we take a longer term perspective and look at how HDB prices have moved, what we can observe over here through 1990s all the way until current 2023 is that HDB prices in the early part of the years in the 90s have increased very, very fast, tremendously, 100% in just actually 300% in just 6 years. After that, they just increased slightly slower, about 100% in the next 8 years. And currently, we are looking at about 30% in the about 3 years itself. So one thing to take note is that HDB prices have been increasing at a slower rate and it's taking longer for you to realize against. Because you see previously, you take only 6 years to realize again of 300%. And then as the market mature and things, and also as the government comes in to actually control how the resale flat prices are going to move, whether in terms of the policy or by increasing this BTO supply, that actually have an impact on the overall HDB resale market prices, such that now it's actually taking much longer for you to realize a more substantial gain compared to the past. And the HDB momentum currently is stabilizing about 6,005, but the first and second quarter of the year for the HDB resale market tends to be slightly slower than the third quarter. So the third quarter wise, we believe that it will actually, the pace will actually pick up and it may actually exceed 6,005. So currently, I think tomorrow, there will be another report to talk about the July HDB sales number. It will actually show 2,000 odd units. So if that kind of pace continue, you see that the HDB resale volume in the third quarter will exceed 6,005. And the number of $1 million flats might not ease, because when we look at how first half have performed, first half we already have 208 such units. In July itself, we are looking at about $32 million flats. So when you add that in, it's about 240 already in first 6-7 months of the year. If this kind of pace continue, every month you have 30 odd $1 million flats, you're going to hit $400 million flats in 2023. That will probably make up about 1.6% of the total transaction volume itself. So this trend is not going to slow down in 2023. So because I think people are still comparing, because versus the location, the size, as well as what they can get in the private market. For example, I think on this kind of comparison, people still feel that by paying $1 million for a HDB resale flat, probably the location is something that they desire, because BTO may not give you that location that you want, whereas in the resale market, you can go and look for the desired location. And then the size of resale flats are generally bigger than the BTO flats. And if you at a particular location, $1 million flats probably cannot get you that kind of size in the private market. That's why the $1 million flats for HDB is likely to continue as we move along. And in the first half of the year, 26% of these $1 million flats are actually 4-room and smaller flats itself. Because the 4-room flats, the $1 million flats wise, they are actually relatively younger than the 5-room and executive. Because the executive flats wise, the government actually stopped building in the 90s. So most of them are actually 30 plus years already. And because after some time, people also would not want to pay too much for aging flat. That's in a general sense of explaining the whole trend in the $1 million flats market also. But by sometimes you still get that odd purchase here and there for the $1 million flats, that what you see, the 4-room flat at Mo Guan Terrace, the adjoining flat going for 1.5 million, or even a 2-room flat at Mo Guan Terrace over there going for close to 600,000 also. So these are the rare cases that may occur, but by and large, the general trend is that people are looking at for 4-room flats willing to pay the $1 million, but these are actually the newer flats itself. And most people, again, do not really pay a lot higher than the 1.1 million. By and large, the 1 to 1.1 million is the norm for $1 million flats. So those that go 1.3 to 1.4, they are not, frankly speaking, quite an exception. You can see from the chart over here, and more than 1.4 million is really, really very, very little. And in fact, anything 1.3 to 1.4 is also quite little as well. And of course, $1 million flats are occurring not just in mature estates. In the non-mature estates, you are going to see more $1 million flats happening as well. Now, where is the private market heading is the other question after we've seen what's happening in the HDB market itself. First off, of course, we have to talk about this cooling measure first, where the government hikes the ABSD for foreigners to actually 60%. Actually, when we talk about hike, they actually double the whole thing. And right now, the taxes for foreigners buying residential properties in Singapore at 60% is actually the highest, if we are not wrong, the highest globally. This is the highest tax globally on foreigners buying residential property. And actually, it is not just the tax on foreigners that have just gone up. In fact, the taxes for locals as well as PR, if you are buying the second and the third property, has been adjusted upwards by 3 to 5%. So if you are local, you're buying a second property, you are going to pay 20% ABSD instead of the previous was 17%. And if you are a PR buying a second property, you are going to pay 30%, which is 5% more. So all across the board, as long as you are not buying the first property as a PR or as a Singaporean, you are going to pay higher taxes when you buy a second or the third residential property. So in a way, that has actually so-called moderate some of the price gains in the second quarter of 2023. The second quarter, we saw prices actually coming down by 0.2%, but all in the first half of the year, prices is still up about 3.1% itself. So now the question that we want to answer here is that, is this why is there a decline of 0.2%? Is this something that we should be very concerned with? Let's take a look at something that has happened between when the government first announced it and then later on. When they first announced the price decline, that was actually the flash estimates. That was on the 3rd of July itself, when they announced the whole thing, of course, published a day later. Private home price actually came down about 0.4%, if you can see over here. So this is a flash estimate. And then when the actual numbers actually came in, that means with the last 2 weeks of June, the numbers came in, it's actually pushed up the final prices higher. Instead of contracting 0.4%, it actually now come out about 0.2%. So the final figures are actually stronger. It means that the underlying trend in the market in terms of prices maintaining steady is very strong, because the last 2 weeks actually helped to push up overall prices in the property market. And then if you want to take this into perspective, a 0.2% for a $1 million property is translated to $2,000 only. That is very, very negligible. And the other is that when we further break down the prices into the CCR, which is your core central region, it covers District 9, 10, 11, the downtown core as well as Sentosa, and then break into RCR, rest of central region, as well as the mass market, OCR, outside central region. You can really see from the table here is that the RCR is probably another reason why the overall prices has come down, because the sharp contraction in the second quarter by 2.5% actually brings down the whole prices in the market itself. When you combine the 2 quarters number together, but you can still see that the OCR and RCR are still chalking up strong gains in the property market. Why did the RCR prices come down in the second quarter? We do a bit of comparison of what are the project launches in the first quarter as well as the second quarter. This is by volume, because the URA index is such that it is a so-called volume-weighted index. So when you have more transactions for a particular price and a particular area, it tends to influence how the prices in that particular region or particular district actually behaves. So in the first quarter, what we can see is that you have Terra Hill, Vive, the Landmark, 1 per bed, and Piccadilly Grand. Compared to the second quarter, you have Reserve Residences, Tembusu Grand, Continuum, Blossoms by the Park, and the Landmark. If you compare the two, only the Landmark is similar across the 2 quarters. So these two, the prices probably are around the same. But the rest, like what we can see, Terra Hill is a freehold, is very similar to the Continuum, which is a freehold project. And then the rest, which is this City Fringe project itself, like Reserve, Tembusu Grand, Blossoms by the Park, they generally have a medium selling price of about 2.4 to 2.5, which is somewhat similar to prices like 1 per bank and Piccadilly Grand, also 2.4. Of course, Piccadilly Grand is around that as well. But one key difference is that the Rive City Fringe project was actually transacted at a median of about above $3,000 per square foot. So when you come to the second quarter, you do not have such high prices in the City Fringe. That will have an overall effect of bringing the median price in the City Fringe downwards. So you can see from this comparison over here is that why the prices come down, likely because there's a different mix in terms of the so-called sales composition in the first quarter versus the second quarter, where the first quarter you have higher prices of projects being transacted versus the second quarter, where most of them congregate around the 2.4 to 2.5 level. That's why this kind of difference brought down the overall price index for the RCR and pull down the whole island-wide price index as well. So if you want to take away, have a key takeaway from this is that it's likely because the project's composition are different in the 2 quarters, and especially in the RCR, that's why you have the overall prices being dragged down by these different projects. For the resale market wise, the demand has gone up. Why the demand has gone up despite the interest rate staying at this high level? One thing is that the interest rate actually has a bit of a turnaround in May itself. A lot of the fixed rate loan for resale property, for completed properties, actually has come down below 4%. It's hovering about 3.6% in the second quarter from May onwards, May and June. So that actually gives a boost to the resale market. And of course, the HDB resale market wise was also going strong because of aided by the grants. That's why the upgraders over there, if they want an urgent need for a home to actually stay in, they do not want to wait for a new home, they will have the bigger budget over there to actually move over to the resale market. That sort of actually push up the overall demand for the resale private homes in the second quarter. These are some of the launches actually in the second quarter of 2022. Blossoms by the Park, Tembusu Grand. These are actually in April. So these two are the Tembusu Grand is actually before the cooling measures. Blossoms by the Park was actually after the cooling measure. But yet again, after the cooling measure, you can still see that the demand is very strong. Blossoms by the Park can actually sell 70% and more of the available units of 275 units over there. And again, the median price about 2.4, which I shared earlier. In May, we have two big launches, the reserve residences as well as the Continuum, a freehold project in District 50. These two actually push out the overall sales volume in May to more than 1,000 units itself. In June, of course, it's going to be quiet because school holidays, most people actually go overseas for holidays, and there were actually no launches itself. And of course, the other reason is that because the market actually do not have a lot of supply, unsold units actually for buyers to choose from, that actually have an effect on the eventual sales volume also. But taken as a whole for the second quarter, what we can observe is that the number of sales units launched for sale as well as the units sold has increased by a lot compared to the first quarter of 2023. And you can also see the cooling measures at different point in time itself. These are the top selling projects in second quarter. By and large, all the project launches that were actually pushed up after the cooling measures all did very, very well. Like reserve sold more than 500 units. In fact, for the whole month, for whole second quarter coming close to 600 units, and the rest are Tembusu Grand, Continuum, Blossoms by the Park as well, and the rest are all doing very well also. Foreigner-wise, although the cooling measure came out in April, but it does have an overall effect in June itself, because that it won't take the impact immediately, because when you come out with cooling measure, the government do recognize that some of the option may have been issued, and they give a grace period 3 weeks for this option to be exercised. And this actually stretched into the middle of May, into the step onto last day 17th of May itself. So a lot of the part of the transactions actually happened during the April and May period. So when we go over to June itself, actually the number of purchases by foreigners has come down quite significantly. But we still have some foreigners still waiting to actually pay the 60% additional buyer stamp duty when they make purchases actually in June. We observe like countries like buyers from China are still going buying, and also we have buyers from India as well buying the residential unit and paying the additional buyer stamp duty of 60% in June. But overall, the second quarter of the year, foreigners make up about 4.1%. Moving forward, we think that this is probably to come down about 2% thereabout. Currently, the level of unsold numbers in the market is, although it has increased to now about 17,000 units, but it is still below what the 10-year average is, about 27,000 units. So when the big gap happens, there is still pressure on prices. Either the prices will go up or the prices will maintain at the current level itself. And for rents, while we have observed a slight slowdown in rents in the second quarter, first quarter was about more than 7%. Second quarter actually came out about 2.5% itself. This is because in the second quarter, we actually have more than 4,000 units completed in the market, and this went into the market. Not all 4,000, but quite a number actually were put up for rental in the market. And then coupled with a more quiet employment market, where the increase in the number of foreigners is not as great as compared to 2022. Therefore, the rents actually the rent increase actually slowed down a bit in the second quarter. But all in 2023, we believe that the rents will still see a positive increase over there. And then what we can see from this chart over here is that after that, in 2024 onwards, the number of homes that's going to be completed is actually going to come down quite a fair bit as well. That is going to actually support the rental market for the next few years. Where do we actually see the rental market, and not the rental market, the overall market itself, from HDB to private, and then of course the rental market, and how you can actually take advantage of some of these different trends itself. First thing is that we need to be mindful of one thing, is that HDB is actually increasing their BTO supply. What has this got to do with the resale market? Actually, quite a fair bit. The impact on the resale market is not immediate, but it actually will come in a while later. Let's take, for example, when the government decided to ramp up BTO supply from 2011 to 2015, 2014 thereabout. They push up these 4 years, every year was about 25,000. That means these 4 years, they actually push up 100,000 BTO units. And do take note that although BTO has a construction period, but there are actually some buyers who do not mind actually waiting a while instead of going to the resale market. And actually the government through these years actually shortened the construction period, because they try to build even before they launch the project for sale. And when that construction period actually shortens to 2 years, actually some buyers say, okay, I can wait that 2 years rather than to go to resale market. That actually has an impact on the resale market. And you can see that from 2011 until 2014, when they actually boost the BTO supply, the HDB resale prices actually does come down. And then after that, when the government decided that they have actually pushed up enough BTO supply to have a moderating effect on the resale prices, they actually slow down the pace of BTO supply to about annual average of 16,000 per year from 2015 until 2020. Of course, 2020 was the COVID year that got hit, and then a lot of projects actually put on hold. But thereafter, when we emerged from COVID, the HDB resale prices actually shot up very fast and furious, such that the government suddenly realized that, hey, we may not have built enough. We need to bring forward our BTO supply, because buyers, because of what they experienced during COVID, where there was construction delay, and they cannot get keys to their home early or fast enough, they all come into the resale market trying to secure their home. They actually push out the prices. So they need to actually, on the other side of the new homes market, BTO side, need to increase the number of new homes. They decide that from 2021 onwards until 2025, this 5 years period, they're going to push out 100,000 flats. And then when they push out this so much flats over there, it will not have an immediate impact on the prices, but subsequently, as well, we can observe during 2011 to 2014, it is going to moderate the HDB resale prices. If history does repeat, it is possible that prices may actually peak and after that start to ease in the coming years itself. So this is something that we need to be mindful about when we want to whether we want to buy the resale flat or we want to exit our HDB flat and then move on to a private property. And the other, of course, as I shared earlier, HDB price is actually taking longer to actually gain the same amount, the same quantum, because previously you actually take about 6 years to see an increase of 300%, or even 8 years to see 100%. Right now, in 3 years, you are only seeing 30%. So you do that kind of maths itself, you realize that you're not going to see the exponential gains in the HDB resale market because of the increase in BTO supply and various government policies trying to temper the increase in HDB resale prices. And on the private market side, right now, the level of unsold stock, although it has moved up to about 70,000 units, it is still far off from the average unsold stock that we have previously, about 27,000 units annually. So it really still take a bit of time for actually the supply, unsold supply in the market to actually catch up, to give people a lot more choices in the market so that it can actually have a moderating effect on the overall prices. So this means that actually you need to actually sell more land actually to boost the supply. So simply taken is that this mathematical formula, if you want to increase the number of unsold units, that means you need to push out more supply of units for sale versus the number of units sold. because you want to increase it, say, by 2,000, that means your new supply must exceed the number of units that you sell every year by this 2,000 itself. So this is a simple mathematical formula. So one way for the government to do that is actually to increase the supply of land. And this is what they actually did for the second half of 2023 by increasing the private homes supply for the second half of the year. And this actually take the whole 2023 total to actually a 10-year high. How does it actually look like? And will it actually moderate the prices itself? We think that it may not have that kind of moderating effect. This is the full list of the supply of land for private homes as well as for EC. And why we think that there is not going to have an immediate impact on prices? Because what the government is trying to do now is actually they are making up for lost time. You can see that about 10 years ago, in 2012, about second half, they actually have a peak in terms of the number of dwelling units pushed up through the government land sales, which was about 4,000 or close to 5,000 units for the second half of the year. But this has steadily come down throughout the years, and until it reached a low of about 700 units during the COVID time. And because of COVID, where construction activity was actually impacted, a lot of things slowed down. They did not actually release more land for sale, and therefore the supply curve in a way was actually behind. So when you have supply curve behind, it means that the demand is, when we surge, the prices also jump up. That sort of account for why the home prices in 2021, 2022 move up so fast and furious. And right now the government just increasing it to 4,006, which is back to where we are 10 years ago in 2012 also. But why is the government doing so? They're actually picking up the slack in the en bloc market. Here I put together the number of units actually sold in the government land sales versus the en bloc market. The blue one is government land sales, the orange is en bloc market. You can see over here the average annual supply from GRS and en bloc is about 7,800 units per year. This is taken across from 2012 until 2022. And you can see that the government has reduced their GRS supply during this period because the market prices were coming down. So they were letting the market, trying to let it absorb all the unsold stock. Then over here, they also did not increase so much when the market picked up because their private market, the en bloc market here, actually pushed up a lot of land for sale, and therefore there were a lot of supply from the en bloc side that they do not need to actually increase the government land sales actually to match. But later on, because of cooling measure over here in 2018, the en bloc market actually came down very, very drastically to 2020. It picked up again, of course, 2021, 2022, but not so fast and furious that what we've seen during 2017 and 2018. And it was also during this time that the government started to increase the land supply from the government land sales side up here. And in fact, until now, the 2022, 2023 over here is that they are just reaching the so-called combined supply that we should actually have for the past 10 years, which is about 7,800 units thereabout. So in a way, they are just making up for the lost time. Now we are only matching the annual average supply of about 7,800 units. And this, although they have increased the supply, but this supply does not come into the market immediately. Let me show you in the next two slides itself. For sites that were sold in 2021, the government land sales, what you can see here is that this is the location and then the project name and when they are launched. What you see over here is that although the sites are sold in 2021, a lot of them are actually pushed out into the market in 2023. So in a way, it will take you at least 1 year or sometimes more than a year before these sites are actually launched ready for the market. So it also means that during this period of time when you increase the land supply, you will still have a 1 year period where the market is still short of supply. Let's take a look at 2022. 2022, what the government has also, when they increase land supply, these are also the projects itself, and most of the projects are actually not launched for sale. Only 2 projects, Pine Tree Hill and Grand Diamond, has been launched in 2023. The rest is still not ready, probably in the second half of 2023, and then it will actually come, some of them will actually come in 2024. So in a way, increasing the land supply no doubt is needed to actually address the supply and demand imbalance in the market, but it does not enter the market immediately. It takes at least a year or even a year and a half before you can just see that increase in terms of the land supply or the unit supply into the market itself, where you see the 17,000 unit over there increasing more to actually narrow the gap with the 10-year annual average itself. And in July itself, because of what had already been launched in the market, like the Mist, Pine Tree Hill, Grand Diamond, as well as Endor Hills residences, these 4 projects collectively has sold more than 1,100 units already. And then with other projects still ongoing sales in the market, we expect a very sharp rebound in July to one of the highest level that we have actually seen for more than a year, to achieve more than 1,400 units in July. These July numbers will be released next week on the 15th of August. And then the other thing is that last time when we had cooling measure and the prices actually start to moderate a bit, like in 2018, they actually came down by about 0.7%. But after that, the prices, in a way, this we can say as a consolidation period before it goes on another strong run over here from 2019 onwards until now. This is like more than 20 quarters of price increase. Will we see a history repeating itself this time around? I think for the next few quarters, we will probably have a clearer picture itself. But right now, what we can see in the market based on the projects that has been launched in 23 July as well as in August, the new projects prices are very similar to the earlier launch project. It means that prices are probably going to stay pretty steady for the third quarter itself. And right now, what we are actually expecting for 2023 is that for prices actually to move up by about 5%. This is the makeup of new sale unit for around 8,000 units and resale about 11,000 units itself. In the second half of the year, after the August launches, what we are going to see is probably another 13 more launches. These are estimate. Not all may be launched for sale because it's actually quite a fair bit, considering that we have the lunar 7 months starting on the 16th of August and last until 14th of September. Therefore, thereafter, then we have September, October, November, 3 months to launch 13 projects. Some of these may really be pushed over to 2024. So if that really happens, we will not see so many launches coming up in 2023. Some of these, if you are really going looking out for homes, you should actually take a look, strong look at, say, the Jurong East side, Jayden coming up on the side of JQ. This is actually right in the Jurong East, the second CBD, Jurong Lake District itself. So this is going to see very strong interest when you actually launch for sale itself. And then of course others will be within Jurong Lake District. You're going to have another project by Jurong Lake. It's called Sora. There's a beside along Yuanqing Road itself. So these are some of the few projects that you're going to see. And of course, Sim Paradise, the Hill at One North, a project in One North itself, it tends to have very strong demand because the rental demand over there is very strong also. So these are some of the projects that you can potentially be looking at for the second half of 2023. Thank you very much. If you have questions, you can type them into the chat or into the Q&A that I will actually go through them and answer them. I have a question here to ask about projects waiting to be launched. Yes, just now I already showed before this slide. Which is actually the list of projects over here. These 13 of them. If you have other questions, you can also continue to type them in the chat or the Q&A. If not, you can approach any of our Huttons associates also. They will be more than happy actually to share with you the numbers that we have shared today also. Some of these numbers that I shared today with you guys has also been updated into our proprietary proprietary kit for our associates under as real insights for the private market. We also have a real insights for the EC market as well. So we put across to use data to actually explain the trends objectively, so that you can see for yourself and how to make the decision also. For some of you who are actually say looking for a place immediately to move in, want a new project, but yet you do not want to wait, you can actually look at the sub-sale market. That means this project has actually reached the TOP, but yet to obtain the CSC, but they have actually been put up for sale. In a way, they're considered new because the owner who buy have not moved in and this has not been tenanted out. So if they're actually up for sale, you can actually look at them. And these are in good condition because nobody stay there as good as new in a way. Okay. The one question here is, how is Pine Tree Hill sale performance after its launch? I think Pine Tree Hill, based on the number of units that were actually launched for sale, they sold close to 40% of the units. Every week, we also track the sales of different projects that already launched in the market. They have been selling week after week as well after they launched in July. So they have been clocking pretty good sales as well. And actually, Pine Tree Hill, that locale itself, is really a very, very quiet estate, private residential enclave next to Mount Sinai, and that whole area is actually like a district then, and some of these actually oversee the greenery and the good class bungalow area. So it is actually a very good place for you to actually stay. Moreover, actually within 1 kilometer to 2 primary school, I think Henry Park, and the other is Pei Tong Primary also. Tampines EC, when will it be launched? So for EC, when the government actually sell you the land, you have to wait for 15 months, or if you have completed the foundation, then you can actually launch for sale. So most developers will actually wait until the 15 months is up, when then they will launch it for sale. So if it has already been sold, then you have to wait another 15 months. But currently, for EC sites, starting from the Tenga Plantation EC site as well as Tampines EC site, they are under a 2 envelope system. That means the government wants to look at your, in terms of productivity, that you're going to propose how to build this EC. That means you could be using the PPVC, that means precast method, or another method itself. Then they will evaluate it, and once they evaluate and you have passed the first envelope, then they will look at second envelope, which is the price, and they will award to the highest price. So Tampines EC right now has not been awarded yet, so we cannot have a projection of when it will be launched for sale. For Marina View, we have no indication from the developer yet on the expected prices, so we can't actually share much over here. But what I can say that for Marina View, if you are looking at investment purposes, they do have 1 and 2 bedrooms, so I would expect that the quantum will be very, very attractive for investors who are looking to actually tap on the strong rental market inside the CBD. The slides that has project name but no launch date. This will be the slide itself. There's one question here talking about integrated projects. They are doing very well so far. Will developers be building more such integrated projects in the next few years? Okay, for integrated projects, right, it is very much dependent on the government, because the supply is actually helped by the government itself. So far, not many en-bloc sites or collective sales sites can actually do an integrated project. The last that can probably happen was actually Canning View Piers. which actually sold more than 70% on the launch day because it is an integrated project. You have retail mall, residential, hotel, then you have the direct connection to Canning Hill MRT station. So that one actually did super well. Then others, the most recent integrated project will be the reserve residences, again sold more than 70% on the first day itself. The next integrated project, if you are looking at coming up, will really be Jayden in Jurong East, because that will actually be directly connected to one of the transport node, and there will be retail space below the residential units also. After that, the government land sales land that has been awarded recently will be at Tampines Avenue 11. So that project itself is a mixed-use development, retail mall plus resi on top, and then it's actually directly connected to the Tampines North MRT station on the Cross Island line. There will be a direct entrance to the MRT station. So that is something that will be upcoming, likely to be next year or maybe in 2025. So these are the few that you are going to see coming. I think Marina View is also directly connected to the MRT station, also it's an integrated mixed-use project as well. The GLS tender, website tender in Jurong East have not closed yet. It will close next year for the bid. But again, this government land sales for Jurong East is going to be like a two envelope system. So because you are going to be a master developer for this more than 6 hectare site, it's a super huge project. The government want to see your overall concept for that before they can actually feel comfortable awarding it to you, because you have to do things that fits their objective for the whole development of Jurong East. Will there be a Hougang integrated coming up soon? Right now, we have not seen the land being put up for sale, but to answer you, yes, given that is a integrated project coming out Hougang MRT station, is an integrated transport hub also, but the land has not been pushed up, so we cannot say when it will actually come up for sale. And for integrated mixed-use development integrated project itself, they are so-called very rare, limited in quantity also. Besides Hougang, the other one that comes to my mind will be Bedok South MRT. There will be another integrated transport hub coming up over there also. We won't know how much all these integrated projects will be selling. It all depends on the market condition at the point in time. But what we observe right now is that the latest, the reserve residences, when they launched at the first weekend itself, it was on average about 2004 plus, and now the median price is about 25 plus. Do you have any more questions you want to clarify with me? Let's see one more. Are the 13 new launches in the list marketed by Huttons? Okay, I can't say that we are marketing everything, because some of them have not, as I would say, all 30 of them have not appointed marketing agents yet. So it still remains to be seen who will be marketing these projects. But I will say by and large, we should be marketing at least 90% of them. do you foresee a glut and oversupply in the next few years for private condo and will prices come down quite substantially? Okay, do I foresee a glut? Right now, we don't really think that there will be a glut because when you look at that, let us take a look first. Here, this is currently the level of unsold stock in the market. While the government is actually pushing out more land, it actually takes a bit of time for this 10,000 units gap over here to be closed up. So it will actually take quite a number of years because you see, just now I explained like the government push up like say so much land, but actually takes at least a year for this to goes up into the market and for this actually to be marketed for sale. So it means that this 10,000 units over here, it could easily take 2 years, 3 years for this to be narrow quite significantly back to our average of about 27,000 unsold units over the past 10 years also. So we don't really see a glut that is actually coming. And then if you're talking about resale market, whether it's going to oversupply over there, let us take a look first over here. You can see that after 2023, moving forward 2024 onwards, the completion of homes in the market, completed homes, is going to come down quite a fair bit. So it means in a way, it means also that the new home market, it takes time for the unsold supply to actually catch up to what we have for the past 10 years. And then in the completed home side, you're not going to get a lot of homes being completed after 2023. It's going to taper down already. So on both sides of the equation, you're not going to get a lot of supply going into the market in that sense. So therein, and then with all the construction costs going up, government interest rate staying high, the cost to actually build new homes is actually pretty significant. So it is unlikely that you will see a price correction in the market. So Cindy asked what I repeat for Tampines North, the Street 11 over there. So that site is integrated mixed-use development. It has retail mall and residential above and has a direct connection to Tampines North MRT station. So these kind of sites are very rare. It may potentially be launched next year, 2024, or even early part of 2025. So it all depends on the speed in getting the planning approval from the authorities. And integrated mixed-use development that is directly connected to an MRT station is very rare. After this, that what Kiwi asked was another site at Hougang MRT station, and there will be another one, say, at Bedok South MRT station. So there are not a lot of integrated mixed-use development directly connected to the MRT. So that's why when they do come about, these are the rare projects and the demand is always very strong. The last integrated mixed use that we have, the reserve residences, sold more than 70% on launch day at a median price of 2,400 odd. Right now, the median price is about 2,500 odd. If there's no further question, thank you very much for joining me tonight for Huttons Consumer Connect. Next week will be a Mandarin version. So if you have Chinese customer who want to listen and understand more about the market itself, you can send the link actually to them or invite them to actually join us for the consumer seminar. I'll see you all next week. Have a good evening. Goodbye.